Okay, it's Tuesday, November 11th, 2025. How's everybody doing today? Veterans Day, big day. I know a lot of people are, off from work, or are out honoring, uh, veterans who have served, and so it's an important day. I wanted to get in and, you know, I don't know how many people are going to be out, working and checking their LinkedIn and their Twitter today, their X. But I wanted to jump out, and I had a really important topic I wanted to drop in here. So yeah, I'll jump right in. I'm going to talk probably for about 30 minutes. I'm going to go pretty fast. I want to talk around the idea, which I think is extremely important, and it plays right into my passions, which is around hiring yourself and building a business for yourself, building a solo business, something that you can have just for you. Now, I know what's really important right now is that there are so many people here in the last 30 to 60 days in particular that have lost their jobs, and they're out there, sort of career pivoting. They're looking to replace that income that they just lost. They're maybe in a state of panic because this is the first time that they've been out of work in so many years, and it's a not a robust job market for a lot of different areas, even in AI, which I will describe in a second here what I know. And the one thing that I will say is always to look for a job for yourself if that's what you need to do and it makes you feel comfortable, and if that's what you need that income stream. But I also think that you should look at a path of trying to find a business idea, trying to find something to build wealth and build creation of that wealth for yourself. Because as you start, as you're like me, I'm about to turn 49. Uh, there's no better path than to have something for yourself so that you can depend on just you for moving forward and what you can bring in. And if you can't find a job, the best path to take is to hire yourself. And so that's the concept that I want to talk through today. And I want to leave you with a lot of nice ideas for what this would look like for you. And as usual, I do quite a big show and tell. I jump right in. Most of what I do is a big screen share here. You'll see me down in the bottom right hand corner. And I usually go for close to 30 minutes, and sometimes I ramble on. So, but I usually like to jam pack them with content. I've been a speaker at about 50 different events, a little over 50 events, I think. And I've really missed that connection to be able to get in front of people, and to be able to get up on stage and share some knowledge, share out some hacks and tips, and just be able to really connect with people. And I know, just yet as I'm getting out here and doing this live series, this is my second week, and I believe this is my seventh consecutive live that I've done. I do them on LinkedIn, I do them on X, and now I also do them out on YouTube as well. I'm eventually going to get to TikTok and Instagram, and there's restrictions and things there, but yeah, this is what I love. This is my passion. I'm a sharing kind of person. And so this is again, this is probably one of the most important topics that I'll talk about, and it's an underlying or a theme that I have as I continue to go about every one of these series. Every one of them is around using AI, which is one of the most incredible things that is really kind of happened inside the last how many ever years. This is just an unbelievable time. You have the internet plus AI. This is an unbelievable time to be able to go out there and be selfish, put something in motion for yourself. Let me give a couple examples here of sort of famous, and maybe a couple that are under the radar, and maybe that you haven't heard of ideas of people that have built something for themselves. They decided, hey, fuck it, I'm going to hire myself and I'm going to build something for myself. And most of them have it around their namesake. So it'd be like me saying Jeff Peterson and starting, Peterson Consulting, or a company called Peterson.com or whatever. The first one I wanted to talk through here, and by the way, I'm going to talk through a couple of examples. I'm going to give you an example of a hot trend that I see out there. We're going to build a small mock-up of what a consulting company may look like around that for a solopreneur using Lovable, and then take it out from there. So I want you to see the full process of showing you ideas, how they're built, the full process through, like just give you a feel for how this really goes. So one of the examples that I like to start with, I was really inspired when I was younger. I kind of caught wind of this guy named Gary Vaynerchuk. He right now he runs a company called VaynerMedia. Now he got his start way back when YouTube was in its infancy. He was doing these videos around wine, like tasting wine against just a plain backdrop, and he had this kind of like bold, energy about him. First of all, he was showing himself, sampling these wines and giving you this, kind of real straight talk about it. So he sort of seemed like an everyday kind of guy, and every guy's guy, or and every man's man. What's the word I'm looking for here? But he seemed like he would like be your friend. Like you connected right to him, right? His personality just right away like clicked with you, and he's still like that today. Like he's a no bullshit, no holds punch. He doesn't hold the punches. He's just a really entertaining guy, but he has a really incredible business sense, and he's a very interesting a great listener. You'll watch him go through these videos online. He's listening to people. He's really quick with what he does with it. But he's an entrepreneur, and again, he started with his dad's business with Wine Library, and then he later left and started a company with his brother called VaynerMedia. And this he's been an investor, a speaker. He's more well known for his over the top energy that he brings to these speaking events and all these videos that he has out online. He's more or less what a lot of people would see as a motivational speaker. But he's way more than that. I mean, he's inspired so many people, including myself. And he's had all sorts of different books that he's had. I think he's there it is right there. A 6-time New York Times best-selling author. And he's just in his last book, there it is. It's called Day Trading Attention. It's one of my books back in here, and it talks about social media examples. It's really interesting, really good. But this is a great example of someone who has started something for themselves, and he built it all the way up into a media company called VaynerMedia. So he's kind of like this story about someone who sort of went out on his own with his brother, a very small group of people, and then they really build it out. I think the way the story goes is that he built VaynerMedia out of a small conference room of some other company. They rented it in New York, and then they eventually got so big that with the clients that they picked up, that they built it and got it out of there. Hell of a sales guy, Gary is. He could sell you just about anything. And he's also famous for going to garage sales, looking for deals and then flipping them. So this is one example of someone that you would probably had heard of. And again, he's a real famous personality at this point. But he decided, hey, I'm going to take my life into my own hands and start something for myself. Another famous solopreneur is Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is a business coach. He's almost like beyond a business coach. He's a coach for a lot of different things: life coach, business coach. He's an author and an entrepreneur, and I think he's also been a big investor in a bunch of things. And he's got a bunch of books as well. Again, I've got one of his books back here as well. I've not seen him speak live, but from what I understand, his energy is what people would describe it. I've known a few people that have gone to his events, and they all said the same thing. They say it was an incredible experience, and his energy that is there, that with him and with the crowd, is just unbelievable. Singing, chanting, fire, walking across fire. So this guy is world renowned, world known. He's got his different programs. He does a lot of events, lots of speaking, and he's, again, self-made, really, and so that's where giving you another example of somebody that has gone from an unknown into a really big known person. Tim Ferriss, he's also a big personality and also a uh, an author of multiple books. This guy has made himself famous through his blog and through a lot of podcasting that he did way early on. And then he became an author. I think he's invested in so many different companies as well. And he's got this like extremely laid back and smart personality. If you've ever listened to his podcast or watched his videos, um, really interesting guy. And he has his blog here, and take a look at his site. And um, I think I actually still do get his newsletter, or his. I think he called it the, what he used to call it. He used to call it the weekly five or something. But I used to get it. I don't know if it still exists in the same form. I know there was a subscribe there, but this guy got really famous because as he got a name for himself, he started to have the kind of the uh, what do you call it? He wanted to go out there and interview famous people, and so he kind of had what's the I'm drawing a blank with what to say. He had the confidence to go out there and build that for himself. And so in a lot of his books and a lot of the videos and podcasts just see of him out there, he's interviewed famous people and he's asked them the really interesting and tough questions that you've always wanted to ask them. It's almost like he's asking them on your behalf. Hey, Hugh, tell me about your special tricks. Tell me about what you like to eat. Tell me about your daily routines. What makes you interesting, Hugh? And he gets in there with them. The one I want to show you, and then I think I'm gonna jump into where I'm going with this is Marquez Brownlee, and a lot of people know him as MKBHD. He's got a YouTube channel with over 20 million followers on it, which is massive. And he built himself up as a real personality out there. He basically is a synonymous with tech. So when a new tech product comes out from Apple or Samsung or any of the big players, they want to give it to him ahead of time, and they want to see, what does he think of it. And it's really big that he's out there getting to kind of tinker, play, and mess around with all these tech products. And his word really means a lot to people. If he's endorsing something from that, that's really big. He has his own big studio, and there's a lot of videos showing his studio and his production team around it. The production quality is second to none. But this guy goes way back to having his own $100 camera when he was like a little kid, and he was starting to do it. He knew at a young age, hey, I want something for myself. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a solopreneur. I don't think he called it that back then. I don't think he knew what it was. But as a little kid, he knew that I'm going to do something for myself and around my name. And I just wanted to show you his website here. He puts up his swag and some different stuff as well. And then some others that you'll want to check out later. Sahil Bloom is one, and Alex Harmazi. So when I was looking at this, I was thinking to myself, going through the lens of ChatGPT, I was thinking, okay, what are some of the hot, kind of highlighted here for you, what are some of the hot and trending markets to start a one-person consulting business today? It was one of the first things I thought of. When I woke up this morning, I was like, hey, I want to do a topic around being a solopreneur and what this is really like. I'm a solopreneur. I have my own business called Active with AI. Now, I do have a few people that work for me and help me with different things. But for the most part, I really do consider myself, a solopreneur, and building that up just by myself, along with some AI products. And I really feel like that is a popular path that is going to continue here with the job market the way it is. You have so many people that are out of work and so many people that are looking for things, looking for ways to make income, ways to essentially hire themselves. And there's no better way to look at it than what are my skills that I've had over the last X number of years, or the last several companies that I've worked for? What are the skills that are valuable that make me hireable? Turn that into a product and start to consult on that, or find out where your real passion is and go out there and grab it. Get after it. So with that in mind, I started looking at, okay, well, what are some of the hot and trending markets, and how does that apply here? And I said that this would be a one-person company productizing themselves and experiences that they have from their career or their previous jobs, and then break out a list for me. So it pulls out a few, and if you can hear my dog just off screen making her presence known. I have a German short-haired pointer, and trust me, don't get that dog unless you're ready for high energy. Because believe me, she's like my third kid. Here she comes. Hey, I'm on live here, okay? You're gonna have to relax, all right, bud? Just relax, buddy. All right. So I want to talk through this very fast here, okay? That gave me 6 trends that were hot or trending consulting niches. And I'm going to focus on the first one, but I'm going to walk you through them very fast. The first one that pulls up is AI and data transformation consulting. That's a no-brainer, and that's something that I would have thought of on myself by myself, but I wanted to see what they thought. So without prompting it for that, it brought it right in. And you can see all around you that everything is about AI right now. So that makes perfect sense. We'll come back to that. The second is ESG, sustainability, corporate responsibility. Absolutely. I've worked with a couple of clients that's what that's what the company is focused around. And there's still a lot of government programs that are funding a lot of this, the reducing carbon footprints. Actually, you can see that right here as well. So there's a lot of companies that are specializing and focusing on that. That is a big area that if you have that kind of experience, you can go off and start a one-person consulting business around that. The third is remote and hybrid workplace and culture transformation consulting. Okay. The fourth is compliance, risk, and regulation, especially tech adjacent consulting. Regulatory landscape is becoming more complex. So data privacy, AI governance. I think AI governance and cybersecurity are huge. That would be a big spot to get into. Fractional interim leadership and advisory services. I don't highly recommend that. I don't want to go off on a long tangent about that, but I don't like the idea of just coming in and just being like a sort of a part-time. For me, argue with me about it, but it just feels like part-time and temp work. And then 6, niche industry function, productized consulting. And that's what we're really going to look at. I take that idea and I come back to this one, AI and data transformation consulting. You know what stuns me right now is just how big the AI space is and how much money is flowing into that, and how you'll see in the news that there are still companies that are laying off, not just other groups like customer support and some lower level things in the company and making way with AI agents and things around it, but I'm talking like, look it up. There's a lot of companies that are letting AI people go too. It's almost like they overhired for it, or they planned too much into it, and now they're giving it back out into the market. They're letting some of those people go. And there are all sorts of different skill sets in there. But my mind goes right to, okay, but now you've got a major skill set from a lot of probably major companies with those AI tools and those LLMs, all you're using. Go right back into it. If you can't get a job in AI, start a consulting track for yourself. Start a one-person consulting business doing that. That would be the smartest play. Then you can go right back out there, look for a job too, but you'll have that AI consulting experience that you can take, and it'll be super attractive to a lot of companies. Guarantee it. So look at this. Hourly rates, mid-level and independent consulting are 200 to 500 plus per hour. And then you can see the source behind it as well. This is really cool. And then many solo consultants land projects in the 15 to 50K range. And then you can see the source behind that as well. I mean, this is great. I mean, just on a quick snapshot, right? Yeah, you're doing this is good for solo. You're the heavy lifting. You're knowledge based. It's all knowledge. What I love about doing consulting work too is, you're productizing yourself. You're not buying inventory. You're not loading your shelves up with all sorts of things that are going to depreciate, or go perishable, right? You're not tying up your investment in something that's just going to sit there and you're dying to like just to get it off of your hands at some point. And so when I do that, I'm like thinking to myself, hey, I want to I want to build a company around this. So if I'm thinking I want to build a company around AI consulting, I come over to Mobbin, and I've shown this before, but I come into Mobbin, and Mobbin is a let me just back right up to the top here. Mobbin is a site where you can come in and look at companies and what the inside of their company looks like. Most This is mostly used for like design and development purposes, inspiration, and some others in the kind of that crossing into that tech marketing and the marketing areas. They'll use this to take a look at, hey, I want to see how these different companies operate. What's the flow look like over at Lululemon from the start that a customer comes into the site to the time a customer buys something and and it's out for purchase, to the logistics part, on-site to off-site, right? Or what do some of the marketing websites look like that are in my space? Like, what do the competitors look like? I want to get a look and feel for, what's their message, what's their mission, all the different pieces. On this one, I'm just strictly coming in because I'm like, hey, I want to get a little inspiration for what would a one-person consulting site look like for myself, if I'm running an AI consulting business. And the thing I think about right away is when you go back to the examples of, again, let's look at them very fast. What's the one thing that you notice when you come to all these sites? Here's Tony Robbins. Okay. Here's Tim Ferriss at the top. Okay. And then here's Gary Vaynerchuk at the top. What's the one thing that you see out of those three sites that I just put up? You see them. You see their face. You see their body. Right away, it's Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary Vaynerchuk. Tim Ferriss, Tim Ferriss. Tony Robbins, there's Tony Robbins. So that's how you want to do it. I think a lot of people will buy from people when they trust them. They see them as a brand. They can see their face. That's the first thing that I want to look for. So I want to look at examples in here of, what are some sites that look like they would be, sort of like they have like a face on them that I can sort of look at that template and maybe give a quick copy of that, for inspiration. Now, I do like this one over on Claude because it's just real bare bones and easy and simple. You have some kind of a little call to action plus some text here, and then you have a guy standing here. That's an easy one to lift, grab an inspiration from. I like edge-to-edge pictures. Again, this is on Uber Eats. This is a picture of a cheeseburger, but you could easily sub that out for a picture of somebody sitting there. I like that. And I like edge-to-edge pictures just because from an aesthetic standpoint, that looks real nice and clean. But then I came across this one. A little further down here. Came across Jasper. Now, Jasper is an AI marketing tool. But what I liked about it is, let me find that screenshot for you here. I liked this one. I liked this. This just right away just grabbed me. I was in here for about 5 minutes today, and I said, this is a perfect example to build around for this. You got a logo on the top, nice, clean navigation bar, nothing that's earth shattering here. And then it has a separation into the hero section. The hero section is that top third. I used to call it the top third until I started really getting into developing websites for clients. And then we call it the hero section. Okay, because hero, right? But I like sites like this, and a lot of them are really kind of built like this. So, but this is, again, just for an example like this on here. I would want you to really build something that's unique for you, but I wanted to show you what this is like here. So I like the separation. I like the clear call to action here and the navigation buttons, the call to actions. And then this is where you would pop a picture of you, you know, So I took that and I came over next as a next step. I came out back over into ChatGPT and I cheated slightly. This is exactly what I did. I said, "Hey, ChatGPT, I want to create a hero section using Lovable for a one-person AI consulting company." And I thought of the word auto for it with two T's, AUTTO. I don't know. That's about as clever as I could get this morning for this. Okay. Which I actually think is not too bad. If auto.com with two T's exists, I'd be sword fighting for that one right now. Or auto.ai or .co or .io. Those are also probably secondary. It says, oops, we lost our connection. And I think we are back. Okay. I don't know why that happens. Uh, I kind of picture this as a person that has a last name like Jan Otto, or Frederick Otto, whatever his name is or her name is, and using it as the name of the company. And what I like about it being for an AI consulting company, which is I think is pretty clever, is so much right now in the AI space is being made of automating processes with AI, taking processes that are super time consuming and costly and eliminating them or cleaning them up by automating it with AI products. So if you have an AI company called Auto with two T's, and I don't know even that might even exist, I don't know, but I think that would have a major play. It's your name, and it's also the name of a value that you're bringing. It plays right into AI. So if you can come at that intersection, I think that's pretty cool. So I said, hey, ChatGPT, put together a very detailed prompt that I would use and plug right into Lovable to create this hero section, including the layout, font styles, graphics, the picture, the menu, the colors, and so on. And again, I copy pasted this over from Mobbin to give it an example. It took a minute or so, and it gave me a really long prompt to use. Talked about the layout. Now, this is something I'd build, kind of naturally or add or subtract to it on my own, but I wanted to do something pretty fast. And talked about the navigation bar, the typography. I will stress to you as you use a vibe coding tool, we're going to use Lovable, like Replit, like VO, like Bolt. There's a few others. The more specific, the more granular you get with the details, the better the outcome. And you'll see this. So look at this one under typography. Very detailed here. This is the color that I want. And again, it was going off of that picture. So it was sort of doing a best educational guess about the fonts, the colors, all the things. Okay, it said a deep navy for the color. Okay, it gives you the the information for it there. The size very large, 64 to 72 pixel desktop. Okay, and it has has the headline and then the sub headline. It gives you all that information as well. Talks about the call to action buttons, how they should be. The imagery, graphical elements. It goes all through it. Again, it gives you the full color palette that it thinks that you should be using. Goes all the way down through it, all the way through the deliverables. I copy paste this from here, and I come over into Lovable. Now, I haven't shown Lovable yet in any of my any of these live series, but this is really cool. You can get. Here's what I think of vibe coding tools, and I can't be alone on this. Can you build out an MVP, a minimal viable product, a minimum viable product? And why do I have trouble with that one? It's a tongue twister. Can you build out a minimal product? Can you build out a prototype? Yes. Can you build out a website or an app on here? Yes. But I really feel like these are I feel like these tools are excellent for spinning things up fast, and then you take it from there. Your goal would really be to get it started in here, or even if it's just a piece of a website, like you could play all day with just getting a sort of a incredible call to action buttons built on here with animation on them. you know, or a section below the hero section. It comes in and it has a lot of movement to it, some animation, or it has like um, something just a little trickier, right? You're trying to mirror something that you see from another site, and you want Lovable to help you sort of copy the way that it's animated or the look and feel of it. That's where you want to play with it in here, because all you have to do is just know how to prompt. And a lot of it is you're giving it examples. So I gave it the example at the top, I gave it the picture. And again, just like I did in GPT, and now I copied over that whole prompt. It's right here. It's huge. If I extend it out, you can see the whole thing is in there. See, overall layout, navigation, and header. And it takes you down through all the way to there. Hit enter. Took 2 full minutes. 2 full minutes. It thought for 18 seconds. It started to tell me that it was building it out. And then boom, it says done. And it created the page and it told you what it did. And then here it is. It shows it to you in the preview. And then it also shows it to you in a code form. And you can go back and forth through it here. So when you go through the code, there's, if you know how to look at code, this is, you have that ability to look through it. And you can open up the code editor and you can start to play with it right in there. So if you understand how to look at code, this is nice to have both sides of the equation, not just a tool that's going to build you a minimal looking site or an app or a tool. It's going to give you the code behind it as well. And when you think that you're at a place where you're done and you want to take it somewhere else, you actually want to take it, you can actually get it up through here and get it live through here, or you can put it into GitHub, you can take all the files out and take it to Figma. You can take it wherever you want. It's portable, it moves. When I looked at this, I looked at it and I said, where's the initial picture? When I looked at the picture against this, you can see here that this nav bar, this top nav bar has white, and then it has a separation into it's almost like the nav bar is separate from the hero section. You can see up top it kind of bleeds in there together. It's all gray. So what I did is I came back and I said, okay, we have a good start here. Let's take a closer look at the top nav bar and correct it. It should have a white bar that separates from the hero section. See the attached picture. And I took a screen grab and attached it of just this area right here from the other picture. It didn't take very long, and it came right back with this. Real quick change. Pretty cool, right? And again, you can also look into the code and you can start to get a feel for how this works, see where everything is laid out in there, and you can open up in the code editor, which would be up top here. It gives you everything broken out. So it's pretty cool. You could still continue to move forward on this. And if you want to see it outside of here as well, you can open it up into a preview tab. So this is what it would look like if, and again, this is just the hero section, just the top part. So I'd want to add in, let me pull this part back up. I'd want to add back in, it seems like it is missing a couple things that it didn't it either didn't pick it up, or I'd have to look back through as to why, but I would emphasize that, hey, there's a kind of a blue and green graph bar that lays behind it. Can we have that added in? But I'd have to give it more context. I'd give it the picture and see what it could do. And if it gets it, sometimes it gets it right, but other times you really have to get specific with it. You got to tell it, hey, I want it to go, just north of the woman's head, or let's replace the woman, let's put a man in there, or let's do this. It just depends on what you want to do, but you're going to have to be ultra specific with it to get the way you want it. But this is really cool. This is a really good example of kind of a start of an idea. We have an AI consulting type business that we want, and we want to move it over here. And you can see also that, where'd it go? You can also see here that the nav bar would need to be fixed because it extended it out, and I think I wanted it to be centered there. So as you start to play around with it, you'll see, hey, it nailed it for maybe, 75% of it, or close to 75% of it, but there's things that can really be adjusted. You can go through and adjust anything you like. You can start adding pages on, start linking it up to payment systems. You can do all these different things in here, right? But again, I'll stress that these are kind of minimal products. These are prototypes, and what took me 2 minutes to get to this, and then another less than a minute to, well, between typing and thinking about it. So all in all, maybe I was in here 10 minutes. But if you want to really get it to like something that you can hand off to somebody, yeah, I mean, you might need a day, about a day for a prototype to really get in here and really chisel this away, add the pages, continue out on the home page, get everything hooked up and put together. You're going to productize yourself around a company called Auto. I love it. I mean, I just love the different ideas here. And again, if you come back over into here, this is something that I would encourage you to do. I would encourage you, even if you have a free version of Chat GPT, to use it in a way like this with that research mode. Ask it, hey, this is the type of experience that I have. I'm a sales guy, and I've had experience selling SaaS products or cloud-based services. And here's the 3 companies that I worked for. And, here's what I'd like to do moving forward. Tell me what are transferable skills for me into a consulting company. Tell me what are, some of the best ideas that you would have to productize myself for moving forward. Show me examples, give me sources. Use ChatGPT like a workhorse for you, and it'll come out with some really interesting stuff. You will see. So, so that's where I want to leave it. I want to leave it on that. I'm going to come in every day with new ideas for how to build different businesses for yourself. And I thought this was a really good way to kind of express it. You go from an idea and into some of the vibe coding apps that are out there, and it's super easy to use. Lovable, I think I pay maybe 20 to 25 bucks per month to use, and you get a lot of value out of it. At a minimum, you can develop yourself kind of a fast, cheap, uh, 20 bucks, a $20 website very fast, if you know how to use it. And again, just like I did, if you don't know how to develop the right prompt to use it, come over to ChatGPT and just say, hey, I'm going into Lovable. I want to create a website that looks like this. I want these pages. Okay, great. Give me a prompt for that. Pop it in over there. Okay, great. Tinker around with it. Come back over to ChatGPT again from Lovable and say, hey, I want to add this part into the bottom of the site now, and I want it to look like this. Give it as much context as you can. Screenshots are king, absolutely king. Super, super helpful. But I'm happy to talk to you about your job search. I'm happy to talk to you about this idea about hiring yourself. Look me up, give me a call. I'm happy to jump into this next time. And until the next one, which will be tomorrow, I look forward to seeing you. And that's all I got today. Talk to you soon. I'm out of here.